Shalom, it's Rabbi David Barron with my weekly Torah Talk. Before I begin, just a little bit of housekeeping. I want to invite you to some fantastic events that we're holding here at our temple's home, the Saban Theater, and elsewhere during the month of February. And the first of those events will be on Friday night, February 10th at 8 p.m. here in our rotunda, an intimate Shabbat service and celebration at 8 p.m. Later in the month, on February 24th, we're holding one of our really delicious Shabbat dinners and celebrations of Shabbat and mini concert, and that's going to be at Brentwood Country Club. That requires a reservation. So the Friday night, the 10th, which is a service in the rotunda, does not require a reservation. That service begins at 8. And the dinner later in the month, February 24th, requires a reservation. So please call our temple office, 323-658-9100. And again, a reminder, we're doing a very special and moving evening on finding the secrets to attracting and keeping love in your life. I'll be doing that with Natasha Graziato the night before Valentine's Day here at our theater. It should be a very memorable evening, really unforgettable. And that's going to be on Monday night, February 13th. Call the office. We need your reservation by your email address to make sure we've got space for everyone who wants to attend that event. This week's Torah portion is the portion of Va'era. And I'm going to read a verse that you can look at on your screen right now. And the verse is taken from this chapter, the 6th chapter of the book of Exodus. And God says to the children of Israel, "Wherefore, say unto the children of Israel, I am the Lord. I will bring you from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will deliver you from their bondage, and I will redeem you." And this concept of God's redemption with an outstretched arm is a really important component of why we drink 4 cups of wine, because of the 4 declarations on Passover at our Seder. We drink 4 cups. Why? The 4 declarations of God's redemption. But the word I want to look at in the verse is the burdens of Egypt. The Hebrew word is sivlot. And if you look at that word carefully, you recognize that the word sivlot doesn't just mean burdens, lisbol, to suffer, to be under a burden, but it also comes from savlanut, which means patience, or a kind of mindless acceptance of a situation. And that was the great redemption, that the Israelites were possessed of this mentality that said, you know what, this is my situation. I'm a slave. Slavery is awful and brutal, but there's not much I can do about it. They were possessed of that slave mentality. And as we've just observed Martin Luther King Day, and we think about the experience of African Americans in the South during the time of that great enslavement and oppression, we come to recognize that it is being freed from slavery that is the great mission of any people who believe in the value of liberty and the dignity of human life. But to do that, we have to come out of that mentality. Now, how many of us have been in situations where we felt it was hopeless? We gave up. We'll just accept the situation as it exists. I know we see that in our community when we look at the problem of homelessness. Some people feel overwhelmed, that there's nothing that can be done. Or if we look at our southern border, which seems to be increasingly, if not completely, under the control of drug cartels who have been bringing fentanyl into the United States and who have been involved in human smuggling, the idea that we just accept that situation, kick the can down the road. No, that's the slave mentality. That says you are giving up on the situation. And people of conscience and faith can't do that. We are called upon to respond and to break out of that mentality. We can't accept slavery as a fact of life. We can't accept human smuggling as a fact of life. We can't accept child abuse, or we can't accept the importation of drugs into our country as a fact of life. We, as people of conscience, people of values, have to oppose that. And that means breaking out of a mindset, which is the ultimate redemption from enslavement. I know a lot of us in our life situations have find ourselves in a place where we feel the situation is hopeless, let's just give up, let's just accept it. But the message of the Torah is no, to break free, you have to break free of that mindset, as well as the physical conditions, you have to break free of the mental restrictions. That's a very powerful message in the Torah portion, which speaks about liberation from the bondage of Egyptian slavery. And I hope it's one we can take to heart and live by. And I wish each and every one of you a Shabbat Shalom. And please don't forget to share this message with friends and family around the country and around the world. Shabbat Shalom.